Welcome, guys. It's another episode of the Neutral Corner. It's Danny Glover with Big Lex. And today we're joined by our special guest, Rakeem Noble. Welcome, guys. It's another episode of the Neutral. Yeah, so how's it going, man?
Yeah, man, it's going good. Thanks for inviting me down. I see this place is set up online all the time, so finally in the mix, finally here.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
It took you long enough to invite me, but we'll let that slide.
Oh, come on. We've been trying to get you on for a while. You've been ducking me for Arsenal, but now you realise the dream's over. So, well, it's all good, man.
Oh, that Palace Arsenal banter, yeah?
Palace, no, I'm just a what do you call it?
Or what?
Palace it's like a grassroots team. We're not championship.
Grassroots, hey, Palace boys, you don't want to hear that.
Where do you live again? You live in London, right?
No, I live in London, but I told you where my dad grew up, but let's not talk about it now.
Okay. All right.
We're here for boxing.
Okay.
Yeah, no football talk. That one part of the script.
Exactly. But yeah, man, we're just gonna you've had an interesting life, interesting journey, doing great things within the boxing scene. So yeah, we're gonna let people know more about you, and get more familiar with you. So yeah, we'll start off with current affairs. Before we get into your story, as you know, last night, big fight with Katie Taylor versus Chantel Cameron and Devin Haney versus Lomachenko. So yeah, man, what's your thoughts on those fights?
So, do you know what? When Katie Taylor, Chantel Cameron was on, I was actually at York Hall, TM14, they had a show on. I was watching my boy and Prosper, so I didn't even get to watch the full card. By the time I left the venue, I jumped on my phone, got a stream. I think I picked up the last 3 rounds, and by the sounds of it, it sounded like a pretty close fight, but Chantel Cameron was probably ahead on the scorecards, and at the end of it, they made the right decision, because everyone's thinking it's Ireland.
Ireland, yeah.
It could be a Katie Taylor show, it could just be to appease her, but they made the right decision. Chantel got the win. I need to watch it back myself to see it. But it's great. It's great. Chantel's been calling for this fight for a long time, and she got the opportunity. She lived up to the mark, and now I don't know what the pound for pound rankings are for the women, but she's got to be up there. She's got to
be up there, innit?
Top 3,
definitely.
At least.
I agree with that.
And it was a long night. So of course, after that, got home, done my editing. Haney Lomachenko, they must have ring walked at about 4 or 5, some mad time in the morning.
I was struggling.
4:20.
When did I ring you?
4:20.
I thought, yeah, I was struggling.
Yeah.
But you have to make that phone call just to stay alive. That's what I rang.
4:20.
Do you know, I actually feel it. What was it? The Valdez fight. I fell asleep at the first round of the Valdez fight, and I woke up.
That's like me, and I see him talking to them. That's like me. I fell asleep exactly then. I woke up, and I see him doing his post-match interview.
No, I didn't even see that. I woke up when Haney and Lomachenko was in the ring, so I was like, put myself together. Woke up just on time. Just on time.
Yeah. So what did you think of the main Haney Loma?
It was a competitive fight. Like, it's one of those fights where whatever result they call, as long as the scorecards are close, you couldn't really argue. If it was a draw,
there was that one scorecard though,
16-12 or something like that, 4 rounds. Yeah, I think that one was wild. But if you score at 113, 114, 112, 114, it's like 1 or 2 rounds either way, a draw, that you couldn't argue. Personally, I thought Lomachenko maybe just had done enough to win it. Edged it. I thought he just edged it. But it's one of those fights that when it gets called, you can't really complain at the winner.
When it's a tight fight like that, if it goes either way. I thought maybe it might be a draw.
Yeah.
I had it 115, 114 to Loma, but also I had a 10-10 round. So if I'd have given that to Devin, then it would have been a draw. But in a close fight, it can go either way. What it is, I think some fans or a lot of fans need to differentiate between what is a close decision or razor thin decision and a robbery, because everyone's too fast to say, because I've got it 115, 114. If it isn't 115, 114, it's a robbery.
It's a robbery.
It's subjective, mate. What my card is and what your card is and what your card is going to be 3 different things, most likely, in if we was to score 5 fights together, we're not gonna have the same sheet.
But two of the judges came up with the same scorecard. So like you said, obviously barring that other judge that was barring that, they came up to the same. I don't know how they got up there because obviously have you seen the score sheet? Yeah. So did they? Obviously their rounds weren't all the same, right? No, exactly. So it's all like you said, subjective.
Yeah. Even the two guys who did 15, 13, their cards was different.
That's
way it came to the end, but
they got to the same result though.
Yeah, man. So we'll start with you now with your life journey and stuff like that. So so tell us about your background, where you grew up.
So grew up in Croydon.
No sugarcoating.
Want the truth, want the raw truth, unexplicit. Probably can't go into all of that today because might lead down other paths. But for the boxing side of it, grew up in Croydon, South London, not too far from Crystal Palace, Upper Norwood area. To be honest, I was a good child when I was growing up. Like, I wasn't getting in trouble. I wasn't out on the streets and all that kind of stuff. I was fine with my parents. Everything was cool inside the household. And I didn't pick boxing up until pretty late. I didn't pick boxing up till I was like 17, which compared to some of the kids in the gym who were like starting when literally their dad's taking them in there just when they're walking, letting them hit the bag. Like, I didn't have that. 17 years old, was at college, started my second year, had a bit of spare time. Let me find something to do. Let's go to a boxing gym. Start hitting the bag, just start training. This is fun. What can I do next? Sparring. Okay, let me start sparring some of the other people. Not bad. Let me spar the guy that's been doing it for a bit longer. And just like anything in life, you do one thing, you just get pushed, and the next thing, let me have a bout. Let's see how that goes. Okay, I won it. Let's have an amateur bout because I was white collar. Let's have an amateur fight and see where it goes from there. So, and that's where it just continuously just progressed up from there. Have amateur fights, the novices, senior novices, the ABAs, and then next thing you know, maybe I could turn professional. So it just keep climbing that ladder and seeing where the next reaching point for you is going to land up. Yeah.
So which club was it that you used to box for?
So when I first started, I was in Croydon.
Croydon ABC?
No, it was in Croydon. It was called Fight Factory. It's like Pearly, that's it.
Oh, okay.
You get the 60 all the way up past all of South Croydon, keep going. It was a small club called Fight Factory, and they did kickboxing there, they did boxing there, like a lot of combat sports there. Okay. They had a ring there. So I started there. I had a white collar. I think I had 4 white collar fights there whilst I was there and whilst I was doing my amateur fights. But my first fight there, first experience, breaking the ice, seeing what it's all about. And they got me 1 amateur fight. But of course, they weren't an amateur club. They weren't a full-on amateur club because they were doing lots of other things. No, they was affiliated, but a lot of their time I was going into other things like kickboxing and some of the other classes they were doing. So at that point, I wanted to do boxing. I wanted to do just box, nothing else. So that's when I went to Rose Hill ABC.
Rose Hill, yeah.
I was in Surrey, Carl Shorten, Sutton. And that's where I spent the entirety of my amateur career. I had 40 fights altogether. One of them was at Fight Factory, and the rest of the 39 was at Rose Hill.
Yeah. So what made you actually want to start fighting?
Like I said, it was just one of those things. You try out something, it's fun, you get into it. And then at the same time, so you start going to the gym, you start training, and then you start reading up about boxers of the past. I remember I learned a lot about Muhammad Ali, and I thought, that's really cool. And I read his trilogies with Fraser, his fights with Foreman. I kind of followed a lot of his life story. And then you start coming to present day boxers. Like, I remember the first fight I stayed up for, the first big fight I stayed up for was Mayweather Hatton. And that was 2007? Yeah. End of 2007? Yeah. End of 2007. And I remember following up from there, Pacquiao, De La Hoya, then the Bernard Hopkins when he fought, I think with Antonio Tarver, Kelly Pavlik, Chad Dawson time. That's when I started getting into it and started. Shane Mosley versus Margarito. I think that was probably one of my favourite fights watching. Yeah. And then you kind of just take it from there and you kind of just grow on your knowledge.
So how old are you now?
I'm 33 years old.
Okay, so at Rose Hill, was Craig Whiting still there? When you
Craig White?
Yeah.
Craig White.
But he's called Craig Whiting because I boxed him.
Oh, by the time I met him, he was Craig White. I don't know what that was about, but had a name change. I don't know.
To the ING, but
no questions asked.
You talking about the same guy, yeah?
Yeah, tall guy, innit?
No, short guy.
Ooh.
Guys, it's got to be a different guy then.
You can't be just renaming guys. It can't be the same guy.
Yeah, it's got to be a different guy.
Craig Whiting.
Yeah.
Oh no, look, I never met him.
Oh, okay, maybe the coaches might know. But okay.
But there was a Craig White, which is very funny because there was another guy who was the same name, but
Yeah, that's strange. But so yeah, so did you win anything during the amateurs?
you know, as an amateur, I think I won the Southwest Divs. I won the Southwest Divs in the ABAs and the senior novices, but I could never just get through London. I'd always end up first in the guy that would maybe get to the finals or win the Londons. But I represented London a couple of times. I represented Surrey. I won those fights. Went to London squad training, mixed it with all of the boys, which is, it's funny because I remember it was 2011, the ABA, the London ABAs for that list. If you go through that list of all of the fighters who were in the semis and finals, you'd recognize so many of those names. Like in that year, we had Sonny Edwards there.
Drop them.
Not Sonny Edwards, we had Charlie Edwards, we had Bilal Farwes, Anthony Joshua, Frank Buglioni was there.
Well, we need to get our ting working, man. I should have been going bing, bing, bing.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
There was
Because Charlie Edwards was with Lynn at that time. Bilal Farraz was with
Stonebridge.
Yeah, Stonebridge.
Northwest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because he was with Del.
Umar Sadiq was with Repton.
Okay, yeah.
Um,
Lerone Richards was Repton as well.
Not that year. He was the year after. Not that year in 2011. I think Lauren was 2012 or 13.
Okay.
Aficionado standoff here. Like this.
And Lerone, he went to Oldsfields.
Ooh.
That's it. It was in 2013, my last year in it. He was in Oldsfields.
Yeah, but 2011, he was at Repton.
Not in the seniors. Is it the seniors?
Hey, yo,
It would have been because I remember I think that was the year when they tried to keep him away from Frank Buglioni, if you remember. I don't know if you remember that politics. Why he ended up moving to Earlsfield.
Do you know, he probably was at Repton, but I remember Frank Buglioni was in the...
Hey, nah, this is
the
gonna go
Londons.
forever. Let's move on. Aficionado.
No, right about this. He's about this.
I remember that list vividly. I remember that list.
You say you met your match.
No, you're gonna have to post that on Instagram on a story or something. Post the program.
I gotta go in my cupboard at home, but it must be somewhere.
Yeah.
I think Dion Juma was in it that year. Joe Joyce was in it that year. That was the year that Joshua actually beat Joe Joyce, and then went on to win it in like the Londons. I can't remember. But he beat him. But yes, so many names in that year. So many names. Obviously, my name wanted to win the Southern area. So many. Johnny Garton was there too. Flipping hell. The more I sit here and think, the more names are just gonna start popping up.
I'm the odd one out here.
Yeah.
You guys.
Yeah, big up Johnny. Excellent fighter as well. But I
Oh,
think
from Peckham.
Yeah, the Pexican, but I think he was with Palmer's Academy at that time. So yeah.
I like that.
So what was the ultimate thing then that made you want to turn pro then after the amateurs?
Thing is, when I was amateur, I already had the idea that I would like to go pro. Because like I said, just the development, you're doing one thing, another thing. You're kind of like climbing the ladder and you're just seeing how long this ladder's going to keep going. And at that point, I was enjoying it, something I was having fun with. I was doing good at it. Yeah, let's give it a go. I think every guy at some point in their life wants to become a footballer or athlete of some sort. So when you've got the opportunity to kind of live out that dream, like,
Why not?
yeah, why not? Why not follow it up? Because you can't do it when you get to a certain age. Do it now while you're young, see where it goes, and just ride with it.
I initially wanted to be a basketball player, then when I realised the height just weren't.
You were
kicking
6 foot?
in, then I just had to stick with the boxing. So yeah, no, it's true, very true. What about you? Did you ever want to do any form of sports?
No, I did do sports in school. I've done rugby. I played for Southwark, Carib. I don't know if you know football. But other than that,
What about Southwark Tigers, the rugby one?
no, I didn't. They were in I think they were in Herne Hill, right?
No, they're
No, they were in Peckham.
yeah.
Yeah, Peckham. No, yeah. So we shared the same ground as
Bush.
them. I apologize.
Yeah.
We shared the same ground as them. But other than that, I was just a grassroots guy, man. And then when I grew up, I just went a different way.
I hear that. So yeah, so you turned over pro. Who did you turn over with? Like trainer and setup manager.
So, for my transition from amateur to professional was actually really smooth. I think my last amateur fight was June. It was like June the 8th. And then my pro debut in boxing was September the 7th. So June, July, August, September. It's like just under 3 months. I remember that summer, I just spent it at the gym, just banging it out, just making a transition, just getting comfortable with it. I signed over, was managed by Steve Goodwin.
Okay.
Because Steve Goodwin at that point was having shows
Every other day.
every other day, yeah. Every other day, guy was having a show. And
Had the fights under duress with the selling tickets.
Yeah, it was getting it done. It was getting it done. And I was trained at Miguel's by Don Davis and John Sims. But you know, yeah, at that time when I turned over, I knew what it was. I knew, like, I ain't got these ABA titles to my name. I ain't made up a whole storm as an amateur. My name ain't too known. It's either I sell tickets down that path, or I just wait around like so many fighters do, saying, "Oh yeah, my uncle's getting me an interview with her, and then we're gonna sign on Matchroom, or we're gonna sign with Warren." And time's just ticking. The year's gone, 2 years gone, and you ain't done nothing. So like I said, my last amateur fight was 8th of June. My first pro fight was September the 7th, I believe, and it was just quick, like off my own back. We're just gonna make it happen. And
that's what it's about sometimes, you know. You can't wait for people. It's all about going out there and getting it.
Yeah, real talk. So you had a string of victories. Then, well, talk us through your first pro fight. How was that for you?
Like significant, you know, it's from the differences between amateur and pro.
Well, going into the fight, I was confident. I knew what the setup was. First fight, pro debut, you go out there, show what you can do, you show your skills. At that point, I felt like I've trained with amateurs, I've trained with pros. I'm making the transition gradually. I'm in with a guy who, obviously you're going to try and stop the guy, but he doesn't get stopped too often, but you're going to give it your go from it. I was confident with it. And I think just growing up for my first couple of fights, that was how I was going into the fights. And ultimately, I remember always saying to Steve, I want to start going into competitive fights as soon as possible, because fighting guys that are just covering up, I ain't going to learn so much. Yeah. So I think it was my third fight. My second fight, I had a guy coming in who was like 1 and 2. If he beats me, then he's back in contention kind of thing. Yeah. So that was a good test. The third guy I fought, he was like 1-on-1, Latvian guy. He came to try and do something. And I think it wasn't until my 5th fight, I fought Dave Leo. He was training with the Sims at that point. I think he was training with
Dave. Short Dave, yeah?
Yeah, I think he was training with your cousin Craig.
Okay.
I think they was in the same gym. So you guys were sending people to me.
You fought Dave?
Dave Leo, yeah.
You fought him, yeah?
Yeah, I fought Dave.
We went Ireland together. He's a top bloke, Dave. Okay. Yeah, he does personal training now, doesn't he?
He's personal training. Yeah, he was a cool guy. So
first time I know somebody, innit? You're done speaking.
So what's it? I think I versed him, and that was like that's the kind of test that I wanted, because I think he was 2-0 at the time. I was 4-0 at the time. We were both like going for it.
He was in that base that both wanted someone that's game, basically.
We were both game, and got through that fight, and yeah, it kind of just kept on building momentum from there. But those are the kind of challenges I think were good at that point in the career.
Yeah, and then from there you racked up a string of victories. Then you fought showstar Sohail Ahmed, 7-0 from Afghanistan, and that was he was based out of West Brom, and that was for the light welterweight Southern Area Championship, right?
Yeah, the 147 area title. So at that point, he was training with RJ, Rod Julian, at RJ's gym.
Where's that?
I want to say somewhere in Essex, Epping, somewhere just out of London.
Okay.
In that direction. So that fight, going into that fight, I'd actually come off a loss. So I went up against a kid who was 4-0 at the time. I lost 39-38. It was an upset. I wasn't meant to lose that fight. Okay. And he was at that point kind of being pitched as this knockout artist, because he knocked out a few guys with like one punch, and people were talking about it. We was both under the Goodwin stable. We was both under the same banner. And of course, he's going to be the favourite now going into the fight. I've had a few more fights than him, but he's got this knockout artist. He's undefeated. I've lost. He was the heavy favourite. So that was like the first big fight feel kind of experience that I was having. Now you're fighting for a title. You're the underdog. You're facing a guy who's been built up, same as you, and now you're fighting for a title. But, mate, that fight is probably one of the most exciting small hall shows on a non-televised card, because there was like 5 knockdowns in the 4 rounds of that fight. Came out in the first round, I knocked him down twice.
Yeah.
Second round, I knocked him down once. Then out of nowhere, you think I'm going to finish it. He knocks me down. Then we're both kind of like, you can see we're both kind of spent at that point.
Yeah.
Then in the fourth round, I put him down 2 times again. Like, it's one of those fights that the cameras missed out. The people missed out. Like, only the people there will really understand the back and forth epicness of that fight.
Yeah, but that was a time when, would you say that was a time when like a lot of shows, when like now you see a lot of different small hall shows now, they got their cameras there, their internets, the YouTubes, that would have been the time when that would have been perfect for that, wouldn't it?
Yeah, like we're going to touch on this later because now I work in boxing media. I'm at small hall shows all the time.
Yeah.
And the amount of media, cameras, smartphones and everything that's there. Like, for example, yesterday, Aaron's fight, it wasn't televised or streamed, but I've already seen on Instagram like 3 different angles of the knockout punch that put him down, which will circulate. So that fight that I had with Sahil back in 2016 March, that would have been such a big thing if it was now. Such a big thing if it was picked up, televised, had some kind of social media element to it. But a lot of the fights I feel back then, can't blame no one, just due to the time.
Yeah, small hall classics like you talk about Miranda Carter, Left Jab, all those kind of
Mickey Elliott shot some of those shows.
Yeah, Nobby Knobs, all them kind of guys. So yeah, man, it's one of them ones. Sometimes you have to be there. And, you know, you're going on the old East End gaffs and you're like, yeah, do you remember when? Yeah, I mean, Errol Christie and Mark Taylor. Yeah. And you can only just imagine it in your head because you wasn't there. So yeah, man, it's good. It's I can imagine that would have been a York Hall classic.
It's one of them ones that no matter how much I sit here and try and tell you about it, you'll never get it unless you was actually there that night. So like people that I've got on Twitter, friends that I know that were there that night, people from boxing always come up to me talk about the fight. Oh, you and Sahil was probably one of the best fights that we've seen at York Hall, one of the top fights for an area title. And it's like, yeah, we will all remember that. But the rest of the world, just the rest of the boxing scene, just will never. They will never know. They'll never know. They'll never know.
Funny enough, you brought up Aaron Prosper yesterday because I saw him on your story. So then your first defense was against his cousin K Prosper. He was 9-0, 5 knockouts at the time. So yeah, how did that come about? And what was the build up like? Purse bids and all that going in.
Yeah, so boxing was a small world. Everyone seems to be related or know each other from somewhere.
Yeah.
So at the time, me, Sahil, and Kay were all under Goodwin Promotions. We were all managed by Steve Goodwin. So I've beaten Sahil Ahmed, which was a shock because at the time I'm coming for loss. I meant to beat this guy. He's a knockout artist. All right, cool. K Prosper, he signed K Prosper, I think in like the November, December period of time. And at this point, K Prosper was knocking out everyone. K Prosper was seen as the next thing. He was going to be on Sky Sports. He was going to be signed to a big promoter. He was going to be on TV. He was going to beat the British champion and fly past European to world level at some point. That was like the plan in mind for him. And me, I'm just the guy that's beaten the favourite fighter, but we're really not too sure what to do with him.
Yeah, you probably had a good night.
Yeah, maybe I just had a good lie. I caught him off guard. So I remember the plan was, because we were all managed by the same person, what Steve wanted to do was he wanted me to fight for the English, free up the Southern area, and K fights the Southern area, so he can get all of us to kind of prosper in some way. Yeah. All of us to get those opportunities. But when the time came close, I think it was Joe Hughes had the English, or he just won the English, and he was with another manager, so it was going to be a bit more harder to enforce that. So Steve said the option, you know, you can either defend the title against K, or you can vacate and wait for the English. And at that point, I ain't got nothing else that's going on for me. I'm in this, out of all the slight welterweights in the stable, I'm probably the least notable one. I've probably got the least reputation. This title's the only thing that's keeping me in the mix. So it's like, well, I'm not gonna vacate it just for him to pick it up. Then I guess I've got to fight him. So I remember I found out pretty early that we was fighting each other. I think it was like June, July. I found out I was gonna be fighting him in October. So imagine that, from in July to October, I had it in my head, I'm going to be fighting K Prosper. This guy has been highly touted. This guy has been said to be the next thing in the way. Like, and I remember the build up to that fight because people, anytime I do interviews or talk to people, I'd always get the impression that you're not going to win. You're not going to win. You're not going to beat K Prosper. He's better. He's just the next thing. He's too strong. He's too good. And I remember that feeling it. It rubs you a certain way when people are interviewing you, you're the champion and you're kind of just getting looked at as though
dismissed. Stepping stone.
Yeah, I'm the champion, but I'm like the underdog by massively. I remember for the whole training camp, like that was just in my mind. So from like July times, when Steve said that the fight's happening, I was just, obviously you're not in full camp, but you're getting ready. You're doing little bits. You know, you have your conditioning. You're doing your swimming. You're doing all the little bits.
Ticking over.
You're ticking over, making sure that when you hit the full camp, that boom, it's all there. So that fight was October 31st, Halloween night. I remember, like, you know me, I love my anime, I love my cosplay, all that costume stuff. I couldn't go out for Halloween that night because obviously I'm going for the fight night. Couldn't do anything fun. But I was like, do you know what? We got a mission. We got to do this fight because everyone's expecting him to be the guy.
So,
everyone's expecting him to do it.
What do you mean by cosplay, sir?
Cosplay, you know when you go out, dressed out full out there, out Spider-Man outfit, Groot outfit, Goku outfit.
So I thought you meant something else.
No, cosplay, not crossplay. Golden boy
Sorry.
Tell her how you didn't stand me. We don't do that here.
Fishnet.
Got some fishnet tights and a wig out here. Just Spider-Man.
So I couldn't let that one slide. So. Yeah, go on.
So it was 2016. I remember that. So yeah, I was just getting ready. I always had that date in mind, like I'm gonna fight this. The funny thing is, me and Kay, now we're cool. We see each other. We're cool. I even interviewed him when he was getting ready for his fight with Sandor Martin for the European title. And in the build-up, we didn't have any animosity. But I always feel like when you're fighting someone, there's always just that bit of tension between you two because it's like until things are settled, like we ain't mates. We ain't mates.
Yeah, of course.
Always kind of felt a bit of a chip on my shoulder that I'm the champion. I've been with Goodwin since the beginning. Yeah. You've come in and you're just seen as...
You jump in the queue.
You jumped the queue. You got put on David Hayes shows because David Hayes recognised you and put you on two of his undercards. I never got the opportunity. You've been getting a Southern Area title shot. I had to work from the day that I turned professional. I'm not saying you didn't deserve it. You found your way there. You made noise by knocking everybody else out. But you're not about to get one over me. Like this is mine.
So you decided to cause Halloween havoc. Shook up the show. Took it, I think it was 98, 93. Yep. Could have conclusive points victory over it. And yeah, 2 fights in a row. Yeah. Kind of upset the odds. Good scalps. Good wins.
Yeah.
You only lost after that to Sandor Martin, and who we know went on to beat Mikey Garcia. So when you're looking at
the resume,
the follow-on, the resume, that's a good, really, a very good win. And yeah, a lot of people don't even know that. So
and really and truly, Sandor Martin beat Teofimo Lopez. Of course, it didn't go on the scorecards, but we all know what it is.
Yeah, he dropped him twice. So yeah, it's a very good win. So then afterwards, you got put in with Tommy Coyle. Why did that fight get made, and why was that for nothing? How did that? What was that about?
So at the point, I think Kofi Yates was meant to fight Tommy Coyle, but Kofi Yates had to pull out. I think a medical issue he had to pull out. So the opportunity was there. The thing is, when that fight got called for, I just come back from a training camp in Thailand anyway. Because at that point I was always training, I was always doing new fitness stuff. So I just come back from a training camp. So I thought, yeah, I'm ready for this fight. I can take this fight. And even to this day, I don't regret taking that fight. I'll never sit here and say, oh, it was the timings. They caught me off guard. I wasn't ready. No, I was fully ready for that fight. Just on the night, it didn't go my way. I just didn't show up fully of what I should have done. So came up short that fight. And then, it kind of felt like I was back to square one. So
did anything feel different in that fight going in? Because I noticed that was the only fight you ever had outside London that was up his way in Hull.
Do you know? There was nothing, again, no excuses. There was nothing wrong. The camp had went, I got back from Thailand on the Saturday night. I remember it was the Monday afternoon. My manager, Steve Goodwin, sent me a message saying, could possibly fight on a Matchroom show in Hull. And I was like, I've literally come back 48 hours ago off the plane, and this is 3 weeks away. Yeah, let's go for it. And everything was fine. Training was fine. The camp was fine.
You had a full camp. Yeah, everything was blessed.
Do you know what it was? I always remember this. After the first rounds, had a really good first round, rallied him, and then I sat down in the corner and I thought to myself, this is going too smoothly. Everything's going fine. Like, it shouldn't be this simple. And that's when in the second round I kind of backed off of him. And that's when he came on strong and closed the show. And it wasn't until after the fight I then was told by my trainers, managers, that he's gone to the hospital because you fractured his jaw, or you broke his cheekbone or his face bone or something. And when I looked on Instagram the next morning, he actually checked into the hospital that night to get surgery done, emergency surgery done. So I'm there sitting there thinking, so that first round where I was thinking it was too good to be true, I should have followed that up. I should have kept on pursuing him. But in my head, I just thought, nah, it can't be this simple. And I backed off. And when he's in panic mode, like, I've got to do something because my face is kind of falling off. Okay. And, you know, it's one of them things, like, I still think about it today, like, if I just pursued in that second round, life would have been different now. They would have probably stopped the fight. I would have probably fought more times than Matchroom. I would have probably been offered a contract of some sort. But hey, that's life.
That's life, man.
That's life.
But, yeah, you can think about it, but you're not dwelling on it. I like that.
Yeah, it just kept on moving forward. So like you see now, we'll go into it later, do bits in media. I do now do bits on Matchroom shows, interviewing fighters, interviewing Hearn. Yeah, so...
See how life works.
It's funny how life works like that. It's funny. It's a weird one.
Yeah. So 4 months later, you knocked out George, but you was at your career highest weight of 148 pounds. Was there a reason why you came in that heavy for the fight?
Interesting story. I don't think I've already spoken really about too many people did this fight. So, like...
Give us the exclusive, man.
So, like a lot of fights. So, do you know, this is one of those things where as a boxer, it's an insight that you can only get as a boxer or probably as the coach of a boxer who's really in close to the netted. So a lot of fighters, when they take a knockout loss, they'll have maybe a few fights to get themselves back into contention. And the reason why is because your mental at that point is all over the place. That camp I had after the Tommy Cole fight, I just wasn't fully in it. I just wasn't fully as confident as I was before. I remember sparring thinking, damn, if I get touched, am I going to go down? Am I going to get knocked down? Am I get knocked out again? Like, how am I going to cope when I step in the ring? Like, am I as good as I thought I was? Am I as good as I was last time? And I remember that whole camp was just a struggle because every time I like stepped in the ring or hit the bag, there was a part of me that just, I wasn't as sure. Like on the come up, you're hitting the bag, you're running through it, sparring partners, you're running through the sparring partners, matching them all of the way. But this time it was just always, am I that good? You question yourself. And I remember even the weight, well, then again, I guess it makes sense. Because you can't fully engage in it, you can't fully put everything out there on the line when you're training, you're not going to be losing the weight as you was before. And that's why on the day, I just couldn't, I remember that whole camp, I just couldn't make flipping 140. I couldn't make 140. 147, I had to really struggle to even try and make 147. And that's after the training session when you're dehydrated and you've not eaten that evening, then maybe I could touch 147. But yeah, that's one of the day I came in at probably a career highest of 148. Yeah. And I remember that fight. I remember even in the change room, still those nerves at the back of your head, like, what if he hits me? Like, if he hits me, am I just gonna drop? Like, have I got it?
And that's all because of your last fight.
That's all because of the last fight.
Demons are still circulating.
Demons are still there. And I remember when I got into the ring, and I remember he threw the first, we had the first exchange and he threw the first punt. I don't know what it was, but something clicked. Straight away, it all came back. Like, it's weird to explain, but it all just came back. After that first exchange, I was like, yo, I've done this before. All right, cool, let's go. Finish the fight in round 2. Round 2, hit him. Referee counted to 10. He got back up, but he was all over the place. And at that point, I then just realized, yeah, I've still got it. It's not gone. And that's why when I see fighters having fights after knockouts, like, I get it. I know why. Because that camp is like the hardest thing ever. I had probably more tougher fights than George at that point in my career. Sihor Ahmed, K. Prosper. But just getting into the ring after a knockout, like, it's different. Yeah. And every fight that's been in that position, I can see why, and I know what you're going through in the gym. It's not easy. It's one of the things, like I said, someone who's been in the ring and been in that position, only you and maybe the people closely around you will know how that feels.
So did it make you gun shy in training then, as you say you was worried about, and in the ring when you say you was worried about if you get touched? So did it make you gun shy, or did it make you more on a, I've got to get him before they get me?
I think I can see why it can make you gun shy. I don't think it made me fully gun shy, but it would make me a bit more hesitant, which I guess does lead to being gun shy, because you do worry that if you get hit, it might
So you're more cautious?
It makes you more cautious. Like, you're not going to throw as much. You're not going to be as eager to get into the exchanges. You might jump in there, have an exchange, then jump straight back out. Whereas before, you might be willing to exchange, fight on the inside, take it to the ropes. Whereas you jump in, then jump back out. And do you know, another bit of interesting bit of news is on that one, is around that time, like, shout out to Steve Goodwin for this, because he actually offered me a Southern Area title shot. So I had the fight booked up with Georgie Wright on the 10th of June, but at that time, Adam Dingsdale, he was the Southern Area champion at lightweight. And Steve actually called to say, Adam's looking for a fight. Of course, I know you're coming back after a loss. It's on the table. Do you want to take this fight? And then, for two reasons, I didn't take the fight. For one, I couldn't make 140. Me making 135, I literally have to cut an arm off at that point.
Yeah,
so
that's what I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you, was it going to be at 140 or 140? Yeah, go on.
it was going to be at 135, and I honestly couldn't make 140, let alone 135. So that reason is out of the question. And two, going into a fight with a current champion who, as far as you're concerned, is fine, is good, is levels, like, that's dangerous for myself. So I remember having that night to think about it. I spoke to my coaches about it. I was like, yeah, I've been offered the Southern Area, but really, truly, like, I don't think I'm going to take that one because I'm not mentally there.
Yeah.
If I was to, like, mentally switch on and everything was to click, then yeah, we take it. But at that point, I'm not going to put myself in a fight where I'm walking into it full of nerves. Which is quite funny because Adam Dingsdale, he did actually fight, I think, the same weekend that I did. And he got stopped in round one.
Well, I remember him as an amateur. He was quite a bit younger than me. I remember he boxed one of my stablemates, Junior Saeed. And he was a good amateur. Adam Dingsdale. I don't remember him much as a pro, but I remember him in the amateurs. He was a good amateur. Yeah. So then after that fight, when you knocked out Georgie Wright, then what led to your decision to retire?
So the thing is, I've never actually formally retired and said, yo, I'm done, this is it. So
comeback pending, guys.
If the bag's right, I'm still close to 140 right. I'm at 147 right now, so we can make it happen.
Still training?
No, but I can be. If the bag's right, I'll start training once I leave the studio. But so I had the fight with George Wright, and I remember, like I said, when I was in the ring, I was thinking to myself, yo, I've still got it. It's still there. The confidence had boosted back in. And then I spoke to my manager after, and he was like, yeah, we can get you another fight. We can get you something. But previously, before that, so of course I had the fight with Tommy Cole in February. I remember around March times, at that point, I wasn't sure whether I'm going to continue boxing or not. So I just started looking at options and stuff that's out there. And that's when I started looking at jobs overseas, and when I came across the opportunity to work in Japan. So when I went into the fight on the 10th of June, in my mind, at that point, I'd already secured a job in Japan.
Doing what, sorry?
Teaching English.
All right.
So
can you speak Japanese as well?
I can talk like a little bit, just enough to get me by, just enough to get me around. So I had the fight with Georgie Wright, won it, and I was like, yeah, I don't leave until September, October times, I could have another fight. So at that point, I was actually scheduled to fight Philip Bowles in the English title eliminator.
Okay.
That was actually meant to happen. And I was gonna have that fight, and then I think like 3 weeks later, I was gonna then leave for Japan. So I'll leave English title eliminator. When I come back, can pick up kind of where you left off. But I only found this out like a couple of years later. He pulled out the fight, and I found out it was due to, because he said, when I met him a few years later, he was like, yeah, my trainer at the time, Barry Smith, he was gonna be out the country, so I wasn't gonna go into a fight without having a proper camp, having a proper trainer. That's why I pulled out. I didn't know that at the time, but I got some peace in that eventually. I got to find out what the real reason was. So the fight between me and Philip Bowles, because I think they even posted it on BoxRec. They posted it on BoxRec. The poster got put out for us, but then his trainer wasn't going to be around, so he pulled out the fight. So I didn't end up fighting. In that September. I just thought, we'll see what happens when I come back to the UK.
Yeah. So how was it living out in Japan? And what part of Japan was it you was living in? How was it teaching out there and living out there?
So sometimes when I look back on my life and I think to myself, if after the fight with Georgie Wright, I just stayed in the UK and just stayed and fought and didn't bother leaving Japan, I sometimes thought, what would life have been like? But then after having that year in Japan, that year in Japan was so dope, was so much of a life experience.
Same life experience, yeah.
That like, no matter what way I looked around it, I had to go to Japan for that year. For my own development as a person, for my own kind of enjoyment, for my own growth. That year in Japan, there's no way I could look around and say, take out of my life, maybe just continue boxing.
You never, like, if you could change anything, you won't change that for nothing.
Like, what I would change is maybe change how I reacted after the first round of the call fight. But once that happens, I would never then say I'll change that Japan year, because what happened in that year and all that I learned and the experience that I had, like.
You saying is indulging in some Japanese women out there?
Not even that. Not even that.
Naomi Osaka?
Not even that.
No, it's more than that. I'm not saying it's only that. We're just saying, you?
The thing is, women were even a part of it, because at that time I was dating a girl and I even brought her out to Japan.
Oh yeah,
whilst I was there.
Yeah? Okay.
The whole works, flew her out, put her up for 2 months while she was there, while I was there with her. So it wasn't even about, it wasn't nothing to do with women at all.
No, but I know that. We're
ramping.
Do you know
what part of Japan was it you was in?
I was living in Kanagawa, so not too far from Yokohama. And Tokyo was like just an hour by the train. So I was in a good spot. I was traveling around on the weekends, checking out the hot spots, went to Mount Fuji, watched some sumo wrestling, went to the baths, the sushi restaurant, the temples, the mountain hikes. Like, mate, I did a lot.
You did a lot. You saw a lot.
I did a lot. And even when I was out there, I was still training. Because at that point in my head, it was always, I want to come back to boxing. I'm going to come back to boxing. So I actually found a gym out there, which was not too far from my area, like 20 minutes from where I live. And I was actually training there.
You get some good work sparring?
So...
Inui?
So Inui's, I actually went to visit Inui's gym. Inui's gym is in Yokohama. It's at the Ohashi gym, which is in my prefecture. It was about 40 minutes from where I live. So I went to go visit the gym a few times. He weren't there on the day, I went to go visit the gym. At my gym, Abbey Raya, featherweight fighter, he fought Kiko Martinez. I was at his gym. We were sparring partners for the year. I actually got to know him pretty well when I was out there.
You got some good work then?
Yeah, I was sparring with the IBF. If he's number one now, currently the IBF featherweight champion, I was sparring with him out there. He wasn't obviously IBF number one at the time. I think he was number 7 at the time, but now he's number 1. So it just shows what quality he was. I was sparring with him out there for the year, him and his coaches and his team. I was training with them. Because in my head, I was thinking, I'm going to come back to London and we'll do something. We'll pick up where we left off.
And living in Japan, obviously you see that they seem to be very disciplined. Would you say you kind of like, any more self-discipline out there, or any changes to your life that you think, if I didn't go out there, it put me in good stead when I came back?
Do you know, I was always, before I went to Japan, I was always very disciplined. And I think that's kind of why I fitted in and just got on very well with there, because I'm very good with sticking to a plan, a structure, discipline, a certain way of life. So I feel that was probably very useful for me, because I remember before I went out there, I was reading reviews online of people who went to the same company that I did, and a lot of them had bad experiences. But me, after leaving, I kind of just see it as, do you know what? I was fortunate, but at the same time, I went in with the right mindset. I knew what to expect. I knew what I was getting into. Where some people, they'll take their British Western ways over there and expect, I'm going to have a blast and I'm going to be drinking every night and I'm going to be partying and I'm going to be loud and noisy and
I want full English every morning.
I want full English every morning, like beans and toast, all of that.
So the adapting was very easy for you, basically.
It's easy because I'm easy to adapt to situations. I knew what to expect.
I love that.
And I think just with my character, it worked out really well.
And I see also that you did a training camp in Faifi in Turkey with
Fethiye.
Yeah, Fethiye in Turkey with what's his name?
Michael McKinson.
Yeah, Michael McKinson, the Problem. So how was that? I see you run up mountains and all that.
Yeah. So
but you've been active still.
Yeah, I've done a bit.
Yeah, we need that phone call, man. Who's your manager? Who's your manager?
I ain't got no manager. I'm free agent. Yeah. Call me. Free agent. So 2015. So okay, me and Michael Bannigal, we actually go back to 2013 because we both fought on an amateur show. By that point, we didn't know each other. So I boxed a boy from Brighton, Hove ABC, and then a week later, we both fought on the same show. I fought someone different, and he fought the boy that I fought. I think that was like his first fight back in a while, and he actually lost to that boy, and I won my fight. And I remember watching his fight because I was trying to see my opponent, what he's gonna do after he fought me. I was like, oh yeah, he won. That's good. That makes my win look even better. And I think almost at some point, a fight with me and Michael, because we're in the same weight class, might have been set up. So that was in 2013. Let's fast forward to 2015. I go on a training camp. I go on a training trip. So him, his brother, his dad, and Floyd Moore, one of the fighters at his gym who was like quite popular at the time, they all came out. And so, yeah, we spent the week out there training, sparring, just out in Turkey together. And so I got to know him, his camp, his dad, his team really, really well. And since that trip, that was 2015 May. Do you know, funny enough, it was this week, May 2015. So 8 years ago this week, because I remember the stories are popping up on my Facebook. So since that trip, I used to go down to Portsmouth every once in a while and spar with Michael and Floyd and Lucas and be with his dad. Like I used to go down and train with them.
Moneyfields.
No, they weren't at Moneyfields. So when I was going, they was at like another club. They had their own little gym.
Oh, okay.
They were pro at that point, so they had their own little gym which they were using.
Right.
But I've been to a few gyms of theirs. But yeah, I was going down Saturday mornings. I was going down sparring with them. So
Biola Kudos down there at all?
He trained with Barry. They was at a different gym, but he trained with Barry Smith.
Okay.
But they was at a different gym. He wasn't under the same thing. Yeah. So yeah, I got to know him pretty well since 2015. I've been.
You kept in contact and
Been to a couple of his fights. Do you know the week before I went to Japan, Michael was fighting in Carl Shorten. I went down to go check him. Went to go see him fight, and I've been to a couple of his brothers' fights. When he fought in Portsmouth, went down to there. So yes,
good fight. We've had him on the on Fight Fan TV. He's a nice lad.
Guy.
Him and family, they're good mates of mine. I'll say I'm cool with all of them.
Yeah. So any other travelling experiences you've had anywhere, camps or for work?
Oh mate, how long have you got, mate? I've been to 41 countries.
Oh yeah,
41 countries.
We ain't got that long.
Where do you originally come from? You don't mind me asking.
My mum's side's from Jamaica, my dad's house from Nigeria. I was born in London.
Oh.
Hold on, we got to put the Power Ranger hand in.
Yeah.
He bridges the gap.
Bridges the gap. Jamaica side, Nigerian side, come together, unite. Come together, unite.
I like that. Okay. So where in Nigeria you stepping?
My family's from Lagos.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you know? No, my grandma's side. Lekki Beach, Lagos.
Yeah,
my granddad's side, he's from up the north side.
You know Aja?
Yeah.
I'm okay. Yeah, I'm building there. That's what I'm
around there. Okay,
that's what I'm planting. So when you look out for the big mansion soon, it's gonna be.
I better get my invite.
Yeah, fam, you're there.
It better not take me a year to get that invite. Like here.
It's in the construction. When it's there, we're gonna have the big party. Don't worry.
Love that.
Call me.
So what's the most interesting country you've been to then? Not a bait one.
Do you know? Japan, because I saw so much of it in so much depth. Like in Japan, there's like 46 or 47 prefectures. And whilst I was there in a year, I visited like 23 of them. So I was...
explain to people what prefectures
Prefectures like states. So in like the United States, I think you've got like 51, 52 states. In Japan, they're called prefectures. So I went to like half of the states in Japan at the time because I was just busy, just up every weekend. So Japan, I saw some dope stuff in Japan, but maybe Philippines. Philippines was... another Oriental country. I stayed on an island, one of the islands in Philippines, Puerto Galero, and like the place is literally like 90% forest, 90% untouched. Most of the country hasn't been touched. It's just got one road that goes around the whole island, but most of it's just greenland, forest lines, waterfalls, mountains. Like it's beautiful to see, and like people out there. It's not like a concrete jungle of the United Kingdom. I remember when I came back, I had some holiday blues. I was looking around at all these buildings like, damn, last week I was just looking at mountains and trees and now I'm back just seeing crossroads, cars.
What made you come back, sorry?
Back to London.
Sorry. Did we ask that then? We didn't ask that, didn't we? What made you come back?
Come back. Do you know what? It was like, the contract was only a year. I had family back home, a girlfriend back home. What's our part of my mind? Boxing was back home, and just seeing everyone again. Like being away for a whole year sometimes feels it's a long time, and it feels even longer time. We don't see people as much. You don't see people as often, and I think I just was missing home a little bit. And I kind of thought when I come back to England, I got this and that I wanted to do. So yeah, Japan was only like a short-term pit stop. It was dope while it lasted, but I knew it wasn't gonna last forever.
Okay.
So then. How did you get into the media side of things then? Exactly.
The media side of things. So when I came back to London 2018 October. And of course got straight back into the boxing gym, straight back into the training. But after a while I was just like, oh man, this starting off at the small hall level again, this ain't for me, man. I ain't got that same kind of commitment as I did before.
But sorry, did you still feel like you had it though?
I still at this point, I felt like I had it. Like I had that fight back. I was sparring with. I remember I came back. Isaac Dogbo was getting ready for his fight. Neho, you all know about Isaac Dogbo. Was getting ready for his fight defense of Navarrete. I was sparring with him. One of my other club mates, Hannah Rankin, she was getting ready to fight Clarissa Shields. So I got to be part of 2 World Championship camps when I came back. So yeah, I know I had it, but just the game is the game.
Yeah, the opportunities weren't coming.
So I was still a casual boxing fan. I still went to watch boxing fights on TV. I still kept up to date on Instagram, what's happening, what's going on. But I was always just out of arm's reach from the sport. Like, kept up to date with things, but I wasn't heavy involved. So it wasn't until lockdown did I actually get back into boxing, how I have got back into it. No, tell a lie. I got back into boxing more than I did when I was probably competing. I started doing research, started looking into more stories, what current events going on. We're at home on a Saturday night, we ain't got nothing to do. All right, cool. Eddie Hearn's putting on shows in his back garden. All right, cool. I'll watch this. MTK putting on a few shows. Warren's putting on a few shows. And then I just got back into it from then. So I think I started doing like little 60-minute boxing stories, weekly updates on what's happening with boxing. And then I started interviewing fighters online over Skype and over Instagram Live. And then, of course, eventually the world starts opening up. We start being able to go out. All right, cool. Let me start interviewing people outside of the internet. Yeah. And then I started doing photography because I was like, I can't go to a gym twice in a month and just be interviewing people over and over about the same thing. Okay, let me start doing photography. Then I just started going around to the press conferences, the weigh-ins, just started seeing some of the contacts I was making via Twitter. Shout out to boxing Twitter because that's been like one of the massive backbones of my boxing journey. And then of course you start meeting some of the media people at some of these events. You start meeting some of the notable faces from the timeline at these events. And then it wasn't. So I think one of the biggest turning points for me was when I went to Leeds. I went to Leeds for one of the press conferences. I think it was Josh Warrington. Okay. I went up there to go meet some traders and fighters who were coming over from America. And one of the boxing accounts, Boxing UK, shout out to them because they've put me on in the biggest way. Yeah. Steve, he was there that day and he was like, "Oh, you're Rakeem Noble. I think I saw you on Instagram." And I checked my Instagram. I was like, "Yeah, we follow each other." Of course, you meet many people online, but I feel when you meet someone face to face, like that's different. Yeah. Personal touch is different. And I met him at another show. I think it was Dylan White. When Dylan White was meant to fight Warland. Okay. But it ended up being Chantal Cameron McGee. Yeah. Then I meet him again at that fight. Caused me exchange, talk a bit. And then a couple of weeks later, I remember he messaged me saying, I'm looking for a representative or someone to do some interviews for the brand, for the company. I can't always get down to London. I know you're in London, you're at all the events. I see you're interviewing already. Would you like to get on board? And I was like, yeah, sure. At this point, I've only just been doing interviews leisurely at my own time, doing little bits here and there. And then that was I done my first gig for them December 2021, Yard Baturviev. Yard after 2.
I was thinking, right, I'm going to run it back.
Yards after 2. That was the first fight I covered.
Okay.
And then from then to now, I was like AJ fight weeks, Fury fight weeks, Yard fight weeks, Boatsi, Richard fight weeks. I've done everything. Alicia Baumgartner, Michaela Mayer, Clarissa Shields. Hey, you know what I mean. Name a fighter now, and I've done it. Joe Joyce, Zhang.
Hey, Tokyo Ting.
I muscled you in on the John Ryder, Danny Jacobs one.
Yeah, he got me doing something, got me backstage for that one when they were keeping everyone back. Like since then, that was 2022 February. Yeah, and since then, mate, I've just.
Well, that's like a testament to people. Yeah, his first dream was to be a boxer, but you can see now he's still involved in boxing at a high level, interviewing the top boxers in the world, interviewing the top promoters in the world, interviewing top managers in the world. So it's funny how life works, man. But just keep doing what you're doing and life will treat you up.
Yeah, like these days, like I think like last month when I did the AJ Presser, that one for me was like probably one of my best weeks where I covered everything, got the scrumming interview with AJ.
What fight was that for again?
Franklin.
Yeah, I saw you there actually. You don't remember?
Yeah, I saw you at the original launch
Oh yeah, okay. At Sound Lounge.
at West London, the one in West.
Sound Lounge, yeah, Sound Lane.
That's the one. Yeah. Oh, you see the journey. You see the progress.
Yeah. I see.
Got interviews with Scrum with AJ.
You was working hard that day.
Franklin, Derek James, like able to get everyone. That was like a big confidence thing, because it's like I see all these big channels around me, all the established channels, but I can come in, get all of the content, get all of the bits and pieces, and I think that
mix.
week.
And you got a shout out from was it Eddie Hearn?
Yeah, Eddie Hearn on Twitter.
You got how many millions of views was it? You managed to amass
In that week. So in the AJ Franklin fight week, that week I got over 500,000 views for the channel. And I've done like 2 interviews with Eddie Hearn.
Yeah, 500,000 views. Right?
Eddie Hearn on Twitter, Steve from Boxing UK posted the figure numbers, and Eddie Hearn even commented saying, yeah, Rakeem got himself about that week. He's done really good. Well done to you guys. And like, yeah, it's good that people upstairs like acknowledging you on seeing your work. So yeah, it's growing.
Yeah, man.
What's up? No, I say I'll just congratulate and saying that's what's up.
Yeah, man. Real talk. So then I see you do your Twitter spaces, which I jump in every now and then. You get good guests on. Sonny Edwards.
When Sonny coming on the show, man? So I apologize.
Soon. We're gonna arrange that one. But yeah, you've had quite a few guests in there. Eddie Hearn, you've had.
No, I didn't have Eddie Hearn. So do you know
who was that? Was it Shamel or
Rico got Eddie Hearn, which I always find ironic, because how the Spaces started, when Twitter started Spaces, it was filming. I think it was like around July 2020 times. It was when Wilder Fury 3. It was when that fight was in the build-up. Because I remember every day the Americans were on Spaces having the race wars. Wilder got cheated. Wilder's gonna win this time. Fury had the glove gate. I remember every day. I'm not gonna lie, it was fun. Every day, like we had Twitter Spaces and people were just going on about it. It was getting heated. It was jokes as far as I was concerned, because it's not that deep. It's not that deep. But then after the Wilder Fury came to an end, the fight came to an end, I was like, you know what? We've done so many Spaces. We've had a lot of momentum. Let's keep them going. Let's put a title on it, call it Talker's Tweet, keep them going regularly for fight nights and evenings and news-breaking stories, and let's just keep the momentum going. So now it's been like over a year and a half later, and we're still doing them. And I've made some great contacts on there. I've had Prince Patel come on there, Dave Caldwell, Sonny Edwards, Rowan Richards, Michael McKinson.
Some American guys as well. I've
had quite a few of the Americans. Shout out to Chicken Talk, Lazy Lefty, MVO. Them guys, they start up that Chicken Talk space, and we quite regularly converse with each other, talk about boxing.
Can I come on?
Yeah, mate. Just get a Twitter account, just jump on. We let people in. But it's good, because I always wanted to create, like, when fights happen, I always want to talk about fights. And there's lots of fans out there with much knowledge that want to talk about fights too. So we kind of made a space where when news events gets broken, or when fights are happening, or post fights, we can jump in, talk, give your opinion, and just fight. It's just our way of being involved.
Got you.
It's like Clubhouse. That's what it's like. It's like Clubhouse on the Twitter. So yeah, it's good. You see it highlight at the top, you just click in and you're in. What's his name? Jeff Hines. Yeah, we've done we've done some dope pieces with Jeff Hines, just talking about his story as a referee, some of the history, the case that he's going through now with the BBFC. We've had so many different guests on. I'm probably forgetting some guests. Derry Matthews has been on. Like, for example, when the Eubank, another big point was when the Eubank Ben fight fell through because of the PED scandal. I think that week was terrible for boxing and the publicity, but the amount of content and viewership that we got that week was brilliant, because everyone wanted to talk about it. Everyone wanted some insight. And yeah, man, it was a really good mechanism for getting out there. And even now, some of the shows that I go to, people be like, "Oh, you're the guy from the Spaces," or "I remember your voice from the Spaces." And yeah, man, it's been good. Yeah, man. And then you got into ring announcing as well now.
Yeah, mate. Just photography to interviews to Spaces. Ring announcing.
Yeah. So I see you up and down the country. That's really good, man. So
I did So my girls, they do a few gym shows. Yeah. I started doing the announcing for them, and then I did it for like.
Was you at the last one?
Yeah. I was at the last one.
I was there, but I couldn't see who was, because I was actually there, so I couldn't see the ring announce. Was you with working with Sinclair and Z Boxing, Melissa?
No, that's
Black
Black Box.
Oh, sorry. Is that
That's a different thing.
Sorry, what did you say?
Miguel's.
Oh, I apologize. Sorry.
Oh no, I was at that show, but
Yeah.
I was backstage doing photography.
Okay. I apologize. Sorry, I thought I heard. Sorry, man.
So I started doing it for some like club shows and like collar events, and then I got asked by Fight Zone to do one of their shows in Malta.
Yes. I remember when you flew out. Yeah.
Yeah, they flew me out, put me up in a hotel, covered the cost and everything. Like that was dope. I need more of that in my life. Again, if you're listening and need someone to do your shows, call me in it. So yeah, it's just been dope experience. Now I've applied for the British license, so I'll probably do a few shows in the UK here and there. So yeah, man, we see where it goes. We see where it goes.
Yeah, man. So that's really good. So yeah, that's.
Yeah, man. Very insightful, man. I was really happy you've got you on the show. I'll be honest, man.
Yeah, man. So,
And my fellow Niger brother.
Come on.
Kill on Shelley.
so now we move on to the penultimate round. You might have seen this before. A series of questions.
Yeah. Have you got misses?
Yes. Yes.
You'll be all right.
Don't stitch him up, please.
So here we go. Penultimate round. Hit that bell. Red corner or blue corner?
Red corner?
Left hook or straight right?
Straight right.
Everlast or fly?
Everlast.
Cleto, Rays or Grants?
Rays.
Rival or winning?
Rival.
For boots, Nike boots or Adidas boots?
I want Adidas.
Everlast or Lonsdale?
The coin toss. Lonsdale.
York Hall or Hull?
Hull.
Yeah.
I've had more success at York Hall.
Yeah. Wembley Arena or Copper Box?
Wembley.
O2 or Ali Pali?
O2.
Tupac or Biggie?
Tupac.
Nas or Jay-Z?
Mate.
Nas all day long. Nostradamus all day long.
Nas for the lyrics, Jay-Z for the music.
We don't play that. We don't play that.
We'll go for Nas.
Thank you.
Ali or Tyson?
Ali.
Jack Johnson or Joe Lewis?
Joe Lewis.
Jack Johnson.
Ray Robinson or Ray Leonard?
You gotta go with the first.
Ray Robinson.
Yeah, shit.
Michael Buffer or Jimmy Lennon Jr.?
I've always been a Buffer guy.
Mills Lane or Steve Willis?
Refs.
Mills Lane.
Spence or Crawford?
Crawford's.
Turbiev or Bivol?
Bivol.
Jamel Charlo or Tim Tajou?
Charlo.
Devin Haney or Shakur Stevenson?
Shakur.
Canelo or David Benavidez?
Canelo.
Akoli or Chris Billum Smith?
Woo. CBS.
Akoli or
CBS.
Riakpo?
Akoli.
Fury or Usyk?
Just let you know, when I ask these questions, it's not necessarily who I think is going to win. It's maybe who I want to win.
Oh, you want to win? Okay. What's that? We didn't even ask this man.
Usyk.
AJ Wilder?
Wilder will win that one.
Tank or Shakur Stevenson?
That's actually a good one. Tank's knocking out everyone.
Oh, fair enough. BMW or Mercedes?
Mercedes.
Audi or Lexus?
Audi.
Rolls Royce or Bentley?
Royce.
For the girl them. Dark skin or light skin?
Had to go there. Dark skin.
Blonde or brunette?
Brunette.
Slimline or curvy thick?
Curvy thick.
Natural or surgery?
Natural.
Music. Garage or house?
Garage.
Drum and bass or jungle?
He's thinking.
Let's go drum and bass.
R&B or slow jams?
R&B.
Dancehall or Afrobeats?
Ooh. We're going to do that. Afrobeats.
Festival or Puff Puff?
Festival.
Jollof rice or rice and peas?
There's only one winner there. Come on.
It depends who's making it. It depends what store outlet we go to.
The best of the best is making both of them.
If 50 people make it of each, He's gonna have more. I'm saying I have 100 people.
No, wait. Okay, he
50
said
rice and peas and 50 jollofes.
No. If where you've had the best rice and peas and where you've had the best jollof.
Yeah.
Jollof.
All right. Curry goat or asun?
Curry goat.
Come on.
Well, you're not giving us a chance. That's not even a good comparison, is it?
It's all goat.
Yeah, go on.
Beef patty or meat pie?
I'll call it a buck, man.
Yeah, keep it a buck.
Keep it a buck.
Patty.
Yeah.
Come on.
I have to say on that one as well. Keep it a buck.
Magnum or Alamo Bitter?
Magnum.
That's not the.
What can you put it to then?
I don't know, but no, but Alamo's a bit. You mix that of a bit of juice though, man. It's a bit strong, that one.
Snapper or tilapia?
Yeah, no, I'll give you
That's
that.
fair.
Yeah, that's fair.
Snapper.
Come on. Yeah, let's move on.
But my mum does cook red snapper as well. Disclaimer.
Oh, come on. But
Disclaimer.
I do like a croaker fish. To be fair. So overall, do you prefer Nigerian cuisine or Jamaican cuisine?
Or you just don't. You like them both the same? You could.
They're both cool. They're both good. I eat both of them, of course, both sides of the family. But where I live at mum's house, I'm probably more familiar with the Jamaican foods than Nigerian foods. So just due to that, like the pepper steak, saltfish.
No. Say familiarity, please. That's in it. That's what you just said.
Yeah, familiarity. I'm
Yeah,
more familiar
thanks.
with Jamaican foods.
Don't worry. I'll take you out, man. Take you out. You got to get busy, man. Don't worry, man.
Evian or Volvic?
Evian.
Boss or Fiji?
Fiji.
Speed or power?
Speed.
Matchroom or Queensbury?
Trying to get man out of a mad thing. No, skip that.
Yeah, sorry.
Trying to get me
Conflict of
cancelled.
interest. Countryside or town life?
I'm a town guy, man. Born in the city.
Yeah, but I thought you was liking all the trees and that when you went to Japan and that. Remember, you said you come back, you used to do concrete jungle. Remember, you was telling us.
That make me think. Flipping out. It depends what's out there. It's got to be the perfect setting for it to be.
Cool.
Okay. And last but not least, what would you say is your most defining moment in your life?
Just one moment.
Yeah,
Just
if
one.
you could pick.
I don't know, man. I think it's like a couple of moments.
You only can pick one.
Defining. I don't know, I think this might just be an obvious one, but I don't know, seeing your kid grow up, seeing your kid once it's born to then growing up, he's going to be 3 next month. Like, I mean, that's a pretty defining thing, because every time you kind of with your kid or you kind of see them, it's like, you've seen the progressive steps. Like, I got pictures from when he was like a day old to when he's like now, and he's
That's what's up.
talking and he's walking, understanding things, and that's, I don't know, you get it.
That's a very good answer. That's the perfect answer.
It's like,
yeah, man.
Yeah, it's quite defining every time. Like, you have them around or you see development. So I'd say that. But the thing is, then there's other things that have happened in my life which can also say quite defining.
But you had to pick one, and that's the one you went with.
Yeah. No, that's a good.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah. So, just let everyone know where they can find you on all social media platforms. So plug yourself.
So you can find me Instagram, Twitter, boxstory_RKM, or just type in Rakeem Noble to the search engine. I'll come up. I'm at show every weekend. I'll be at a boxing show somewhere up and down the country. Like next weekend, Bilham Smith or Coley. I'll be in Bournemouth. A couple of weeks ago, I was in Cardiff for Cordina. Keep me Rakeem. This weekend I was just at York Hall, so I'm all over the place.
So not hard to find, basically.
I'm not hard to find, not hard to find at all.
And catch us on Fight Fan TV live on Instagram. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Find me personally at Danny Glover _EST and Lex at LexoBem on Instagram. And yes, that's another episode wrapped up of the Neutral Corner, guys. It's Danny Glover, it's Big Lex, and we've got our guest, Rakeem Noble, former Southern Area champion. And remember, guys, just like his story, persistence beats resistance. You know what it is.
And also, shout out to our sponsor, Treasure Boxing, Ashley Fearpain. We can't, the people that support us and help us do what we do. Thank you.